In May 2024, Tatiana Schlossberg, granddaughter of President John F. Kennedy and daughter of Caroline Kennedy, welcomed her second child into the world. It should have been one of the happiest moments of her life. Instead, within days, doctors delivered news that would shatter everything. Acute myeloid leukemia, one of the most aggressive blood cancers known to medicine. Now, after a bone marrow transplant, a devastating relapse, and multiple clinical trials, her doctor has given her just 1 year to live. This is the story of how a woman in the prime of her life is facing mortality with courage that echoes the resilience of America's most famous family. The Kennedy name carries weight in American history. Triumph, tragedy, public service, and unimaginable loss have defined this family for generations. But even for a family that's endured assassinations, plane crashes, and political scandals, what Tatiana Schlossberg is facing right now might be their most intimate and heartbreaking battle yet. Tatiana isn't just another Kennedy. She's an accomplished journalist, an environmental advocate, and a mother of 2 young children. At 34 years old, she should be watching her kids grow up, building her career, and living the life she'd carefully created. Instead, she's fighting for every single day, undergoing experimental treatments, and documenting her journey in a way that's both devastating and deeply human. In a powerful essay for The New Yorker, Tatiana shared her diagnosis, her treatment, her fears, and the profound gratitude she feels for the family standing beside her. Today, we're going to walk through her journey, understand what acute myeloid leukemia really means, and explore how the Kennedy family is rallying around one of their own in her darkest hour. May 2024 should have been a time of celebration for Tatiana Schlossberg. She and her husband, George Moran, had just welcomed their second child, expanding their young family. But something wasn't right. During routine postpartum blood work, doctors noticed something alarming. Her white blood cell count was dangerously elevated. What happened next moved with terrifying speed. Further testing confirmed what no one wanted to hear: acute myeloid leukemia, or AML. This isn't a cancer that develops slowly or gives you time to prepare. AML is aggressive, fast-moving, and demands immediate action. Within the blood and bone marrow, cancerous cells multiply rapidly, crowding out the healthy blood cells that her body desperately needs to function. For Tatiana, the timing couldn't have been more cruel. She was supposed to be bonding with her newborn, adjusting to life as a mother of 2, experiencing those precious early weeks that you can never get back. Instead, she was thrust into a medical emergency, facing a diagnosis that carries a 5-year survival rate of just 29% for adults. The particularly devastating aspect of AML is how it ambushes people. Many patients, like Tatiana, have no warning signs until a routine blood test reveals the invasion happening inside their body. Symptoms can include fatigue, frequent infections, easy bruising, and shortness of breath. But these are often dismissed as normal life stresses, especially for a new mother. Tatiana made the decision to go public with her diagnosis through her essay in The New Yorker, one of America's most prestigious publications, where her grandmother, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, once worked as an editor. In her words, she wanted to share not just the medical facts, but the emotional reality of facing mortality while holding a newborn baby, of trying to be present for her children while undergoing treatments that drain every ounce of strength. Tatiana's battle began immediately at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York City, one of the nation's leading cancer treatment centers. The standard protocol for AML starts with intensive chemotherapy, designed to kill the rapidly multiplying cancer cells in the blood and bone marrow. This isn't like other cancers, where you might have surgery to remove a tumor. With AML, the enemy is invisible, flowing through your entire bloodstream. The chemotherapy process for AML is brutal. Patients typically spend weeks in the hospital during initial treatment, isolated to protect their compromised immune systems. The drugs that kill cancer cells also destroy healthy cells, leaving patients vulnerable to infections, severe fatigue, bleeding problems, and a host of other complications. For Tatiana, this meant being separated from her newborn during those crucial early months, missing milestones that every mother treasures. But chemotherapy was just the beginning. The most definitive treatment for AML is a bone marrow transplant, also called a stem cell transplant. This procedure essentially replaces your diseased bone marrow with healthy stem cells from a donor, giving your body a chance to produce normal blood cells again. It's a reset button for your entire blood system, but it comes with enormous risks. Finding a matching donor can be challenging, though having a large extended family like the Kennedys increases the odds that a compatible family member could donate. The transplant itself requires even more intensive chemotherapy or radiation to completely wipe out the existing bone marrow. Then the introduction of the donor cells, followed by weeks or months of waiting to see if the new marrow will engraft and begin producing healthy blood cells. Tatiana underwent this grueling process, enduring the transplant with her family rallying around her. For a brief moment, there was hope. The transplant appeared to be working. Her body seemed to be accepting the new marrow. She could imagine a future again, watching her children grow, returning to her work, reclaiming her life. But then came the word that every cancer patient dreads: relapse. Despite the transplant, despite everything she'd endured, the leukemia came back. This is one of the cruelest realities of AML. Even after a bone marrow transplant, the 5-year relapse rate remains significant, and when AML returns after transplant, treatment options become dramatically more limited and less effective. Faced with relapse, Tatiana has participated in several clinical trials, the cutting edge of cancer research, where experimental treatments offer hope when standard options have failed. These trials test new drugs, new combinations, new approaches that might work where everything else has not. They're a lifeline, but they also mean accepting uncertainty, side effects that are not yet fully understood, and the knowledge that you're pioneering treatments that might help future patients more than yourself. In her essay, Tatiana revealed the hardest truth of all. Her doctor has told her she may have only 1 year to live. Let that sink in. A 3-4-year-old mother of 2, a woman with everything to live for, has been given an expiration date. No more long-term plans. No more assuming she'll be there for her children's graduations, their weddings, the grandchildren she'll never meet. Just 1 year, maybe less, maybe a little more, if the current clinical trial works better than expected. This is the reality of AML when standard treatments fail. The cancer becomes increasingly difficult to control, and doctors must balance aggressive treatment against quality of life. At a certain point, the question shifts from, how do we cure this, to, how do we give her as much good time as possible? For someone in Tatiana's position, every decision becomes weighted with impossible significance. How much time do you spend in hospitals versus at home with your children? Do you pursue aggressive treatments that might buy a few more months but leave you too sick to enjoy them? How do you explain to young children that mommy is very sick without terrifying them? How do you say goodbye when there's never enough time? These aren't abstract questions. They're Tatiana's daily reality, decisions she's making right now while the clock ticks down. But here's where the Kennedy family legacy reveals itself in its truest form. Throughout her essay, Tatiana expressed profound gratitude for the support system that has surrounded her, a reminder that while the Kennedy name brings public scrutiny and enormous expectations, it also brings a fierce family loyalty that has sustained them through generations of tragedy. At the center of her support system is her husband, George Moran. George has been there for every treatment, every setback, every terrifying moment when the future looks impossibly dark. He's not just her husband, he's become her primary caregiver, her advocate with doctors, the person holding everything together when she can't. Their love story, already strong, has been tested by circumstances no young couple should face. Her parents have stepped up in ways that only parents can. Caroline Kennedy, herself stranger to loss and tragedy, has taken on the role of helping care for Tatiana's children, providing the stable, loving presence that allows Tatiana to focus on treatment. Caroline lost her father to assassination when she was 5 years old, her uncle Bobby Kennedy 5 years later, and her mother to cancer in 1994. She understands grief and loss in ways most people never will, and she's channeling that experience into supporting her daughter now. Tatiana's siblings have also been crucial, helping with childcare, providing emotional support, being present in all the ways that family shows up during a crisis. The Kennedy family, for all its public drama, has always closed ranks when one of their own is suffering. Her children, still so young, represent both Tatiana's greatest joy and her deepest heartbreak. Her newborn will have no memory of these early months. Her older child is just beginning to understand that something is very wrong with mommy. Tatiana is fighting not just to survive, but to create memories, to be present for whatever time she has left, to love her children with an intensity that can somehow compensate for all the years she might not be there. Tatiana Schlossberg's story is still being written. As of now, she continues to fight, continues to participate in clinical trials, continues to hope that medicine might offer one more option, one more chance. But regardless of how this story ends, Tatiana has already left a legacy through her decision to share her journey publicly. Her essay in The New Yorker is a gift to others facing similar battles. A roadmap through the fear, the medical complexity, and the emotional devastation of a terminal diagnosis. She's shown that you can be honest about mortality while still fighting for life, that you can acknowledge fear while still finding gratitude, that even in the face of death, there are moments of profound beauty and connection. She's also raising awareness about AML, a cancer that receives far less attention than breast cancer or lung cancer, but claims thousands of lives each year. Young people, healthy people, people with everything to live for can be struck down with shocking speed. More research, more funding, more clinical trials are desperately needed. For the Kennedy family, this is their latest test. They've survived political assassinations, plane crashes, scandals, and personal tragedies that would have destroyed lesser families. Now they're facing something even more intimate. Watching a beloved daughter, sister, mother, and wife slip away despite all their resources, all their connections, all their determination. Cancer doesn't care about your last name. But what they're showing us is that love matters, that family matters. That being present for someone in their darkest hour is perhaps the most important thing any of us can do. George's devotion, Caroline's support, the whole family's willingness to rearrange their lives around Tatiana's needs. This is what it means to love someone without reservation. As we watch Tatiana's story unfold, we're reminded that life is fragile, that time is precious, and that the bonds we create with the people we love are ultimately what give our lives meaning. Tatiana Schlossberg is living that truth right now, in real time, with courage that would make her famous ancestors proud. We don't know how much time Tatiana has left. We don't know if a clinical trial might work where everything else has failed. We don't know if medicine might offer one more miracle. What we do know is that she's facing whatever comes with honesty, grace, and a gratitude for love that transcends fear. That's not just a Kennedy legacy. That's a human legacy, and it's one we can all aspire to. If you want to support AML research, consider donating to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society or participating in a bone marrow donor registry. You might save a life. Thank you for watching.